Under the baobab is where I'll be, in the griot seat, under the poet's tree, doing my best to pour out a river of words and rhythm that expound our story and the glory therein. Only through this truth can we begin to dispel the false narrative of his story. A chance to lift up bowed down heads programmed to believe that they are less. A chance for atonement for those programmed to believe they are best. Freeing a world from the confusion, from illusion that our story began with change. No greater vehicle than the poetry for this. I'm sorry. My phone betrayed me and took the words away. Can you give me a second? All right. Under the baobab tree is where I'll be, in the griot seat, under the poet's tree, doing my best to pour out a river of words in rhythm that expound our story and the glory therein. Only through this truth can we begin to dispel the false narrative of his story. To lift up bowed down heads programmed to believe that they are less. A chance for atonement for those programmed to believe they are the best. Freeing a world in confusion from the illusion that our story began with change. No greater vehicle than the poetry. It cannot be contained or hidden. The poetry is always to be found, mainstream or underground. Every sound invoking emotion, especially love. Love of self, love of your people, love for my beautiful ebony queen, and love of the truth. So here I sit, under the poetry, on my mission, but not alone. Because the poetry is not I, but we. Asante. So this one is called, you probably heard it before, so bear with me. This one is called The Griot's Children. Can you give me some padoom doom bop? Just padoom doom bop, padoom doom bop. There you go. I am told that the soul of the griot lives inside the baobab tree. And since the ancient days of our history, it was their mission to keep the folklore, legends, and records of our people. And there was no missing of the written word of this oral tradition, but everything was held in the heart and the head of the griot. And that griot heart that would not stop beat out the padoom doom bop and sing-song rhythm, giving a beat to his words, which helped the griot to memorize and keep alive the interests of his audience. Oh. But this lineage was broken when many of the griot's children were stolen, chained and placed in the bows of ships, setting upright the rolling sea and the food they eat caused them to repeat, and in their own waste they sleep. Whenever sleep does come, they share but one dream alone, to leave this hell-laden pit and fly home, only to awaken to find their destiny unchanged. They still remain chained to the floor of this dark pit, where the griot's heart, the padoom doom bop, has stopped. Some perish on the journey. Some are chained together and thrown into the sea, their souls littering the ocean floor like strange breadcrumbs that can neither show the way home nor warn others not to come. So on they roll toward a bondage more horrible than they can imagine. Ah, but the griot spirit you cannot kill. So the padoom doom bop begins to spill out in rhythms in the cotton field. First is songs of woe, then songs of hope, songs of the desire to be free, and songs of jubilee. And that is how the new record was told, with blues, jazz, gospel, and soul. Reggae, R&B, hip-hop, and bebop, for the padoom doom bop, you see, sometimes comes out as Rit-bop-ba-da-you-da-da-you-dee-dee. And in Brazil, they outlawed the capoeira, so they made it into a dance. And if ever there was a story they couldn't speak, they tapped it out with their feet. And for those who don't know it, every actor, writer, mime, and poet, every musician, songwriter, teacher, historian is the griot's child, fighting to keep the griot spirit alive, bringing a true record of the present and past, seeking the true and ultimate law, searching for absolute freedom. Their mission will not stop. Ba-doom-doom-bop, ba-doom-doom-bop, ba-doom-doom-bop. Asante. Old book, never run for the bus in winter. New book, poetry. Thank you.
So, Mike, you have books for sale? You have with you?
Yeah, I have something to say.
Okay. Okay, give Michael Saunders another hand, please. Yeah. So we're going to do